Lots of states do have laws that ban the firing of LGBT community members, but there is no such law on the books in the federal government except for the 1964 law. So the question here that the court's going to resolve next year is whether or not the 1964 law, the language of the law, which is extremely broad, allows people to fire gays and lesbians, and in one case a transgender person, because of their sexual orientation or because of their sexual status. And there are 3 cases that are before the court that they agreed to review, and it's going to be one of the big cases of the term next year.
It's NPR Legal Affairs correspondent Nina Totenberg. Nina, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, now to the American Lung Association's State of the Air report released today. It found half of all Americans live in counties with unhealthy levels of air pollution. And that number's on the rise, with more days with hazardous air quality than ever from 2015 to 2017. Janice Nolan is lead author. And Janice, we know there's been a push for deregulation in this current administration, affecting the Clean Air Act, for instance. So maybe this isn't surprising?
Unfortunately, some of the deregulation that's been proposed has not taken effect. The increase in unhealthy air that we're seeing is actually Mother Nature doing it to us through climate change, and that's why we raised that as a major issue in this report. When you have the years 2015, 16, and 17 that we're covering in this report labeled as the 3 hottest years in global history, and you see the impacts of the wildfires in 2017 out in California and other parts of the country on air quality in neighboring and long-distance communities, you can see the impact of needing to take more action. So while we're also fighting rollbacks, we're also urging more action to clean up the pollution, to deal with climate change as a major risk for us for public health.
Well, and maybe still encouraging people to change their behavior, because we were so fascinated to see that topping your list for worst year-round particle pollution is Fresno, California, the metro area there. Los Angeles remains a city with the worst ozone pollution, as it has for 19 years of the 20-year history of this report. 6 of the country's 10 worst cities for air pollution are in California. And we know California has some of the strictest air pollution regulations and some of the most forward-thinking people. Is this simply the amount of people and the amount of cars, for instance?
That's a big factor. The number of people, the number of cars, the industry there, agriculture, shipping, transport of goods, all of those things play a big role. And the fact that Metro State has a nice little bowl and it's hard that they keep things so well that it's craft off in there and they work there. It has been a long time but again, it does show that pollution has been a long way to go nationwide, not just in California.
You have a hard time breathing. Who has the healthiest air? And again, it may not be behavior or industry. It may just be, where they happen to be in the weather pattern. But who's the healthiest?
Well, we have 6 cities that have the highest air quality, and they have no days when ozone levels of particle range. The lowest ground levels include places like Bangor, Maine, Burlington, Vermont, Honolulu, Hawaii, Lincoln, Nebraska, Palm Bay, Florida, and Wilmington, North Carolina. Some of the benefits because of the geography. Honolulu, you can blow a lot of pollution away easily, but also because their sources are not as significantly large as some other places are. So many of them have been on our cleanest cities list for a while.
You have a megaphone. You know, most of the problems, individuals, of course, can change behavior. We can fight climate change. But what is the thing that can be done immediately to start improving the air?
We're taking steps now. And one of the things we're asking people to do are to sign a petition to Congress and the administration about climate, that we need to take action to address climate. And there are things that are en route now that we're fighting and working to make sure stay in place, like a clean power plan, like rules to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases from vehicles, rules to clean up emissions of things like methane from oil and gas extraction, things that have been in place for a while, and this administration is trying to roll them back. We're fighting that in every way we can to be able to keep those tools working and to get them actually implemented to be able to reduce the pollution that we're seeing.
Not go backwards. Janice Nolan, lead author of the American Lung Association State of the Air Report, will link you to all that information at herenow.org. Janice, thank you.
Thank you.
And you're listening to Here and Now.
And you're listening to Here and Now on WHYY.
Supporting WHYY, Penn Orthopedics. What if you were able to do things you haven't done in years? Like building a fort with your grandkids, or simply taking a nice, long walk. With advanced treatments for hip and knee arthritis and a personal patient navigation team with you every step of the way, the Penn Orthopedics approach to joint pain is designed to help get you back to enjoying life again. Appointments can be scheduled online at pennmedicine.org/joints.
An enormous amount of food goes to waste every year, and many school students go hungry. So, a nonprofit called Cultivate is teaming up with local districts in Indiana to provide free meals. Jeremy Hobson will have the full story in about 20 minutes on WHYY. Stay with us.
WSFS Bank, the largest, longest-standing community bank headquartered in the greater Delaware Valley. Learn more at WSFSbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 417673. And Flatiron Books, The Moment of Lift, How Empowering Women Changes the World by Melinda Gates. In this book, Melinda shares stories of women who have given her life focus and urgency. Available where books are sold.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston. From Home Advisor, matching homeowners with home improvement professionals for a variety of home projects. From minor repairs to major remodels, homeowners can read reviews of local pros and book appointments online at homeadvisor.com. And College Vine, using data to provide personalized college guidance. Admissions advisors help high school students apply to college based on their chances of getting accepted and receiving scholarship awards. More at collegevine.com.
This is Here and Now from NPR and WBUR. I'm Jeremy Hobson. Now some news from the world of travel that you'll hear about first on Here and Now. Consumers who want to avoid flying on Boeing MAX jets when the grounded planes are flying again might have a hard time doing that because some airline websites have stopped including that information on future flight listings. Joining us now with more on this is Seth Kaplan, Here and Now transportation analyst. Hi, Seth.
Hi, Jeremy.
So you were looking around on some airline websites to see what they were listing for future flights. What did you find?
Hey, Jeremy, as you might know, for the next few months, there are no MAX flights scheduled. United has canceled them through July, American and Southwest through August, but we were able to look at airline schedule databases to see what's scheduled beyond that. And so looking in September, for example, if you searched for flights where you knew it was scheduled on a MAX, on American site, it just simply didn't list an aircraft equipment type, whereas American typically does list that. On United's site, if it was a MAX flight, it said that it was a Boeing 737, but didn't list the specific kind, even though they typically do that. And in Southwest's case, it was listing a 737-800. So that's kind of the previous version of the MAX. It listed that rather than the MAX 8 that's actually scheduled.
So what did the airline say when you asked them about this?
Yeah, American and United both explained that they were working on this and that it would quickly be fixed. In United's case, actually by early Wednesday, if you looked at those same flights, it did indeed say, in United's case, that the flight would be operated by a 737 MAX 9, the plane that was indeed scheduled for it.
I mean, it's not surprising, I guess, that they wouldn't want to put that out there, because you'd probably, if you are scared to fly on these planes, which a lot of people are, you would actively not book the flight that was on one of them in the future if you knew that it was going to be on a MAX.
Yeah, and Southwest, by the way, still hasn't replied to our inquiries. But yeah, the airlines said, and American kind of walked me through this specifically, that this all started actually to eliminate confusion rather to cause it. They said back when the MAX was first grounded, you know, these airline websites that provide this information were never designed with any of this in mind. It's designed so that, you know, looking at flights far in the future, you could see what kind of aircraft type you would be on if you cared about that. Most people in the past didn't. So when the MAXs were grounded, and American was kind of scrambling, canceling some flights, moving non-MAX planes onto other routes where MAX had been scheduled, consumers were confused because they would still see the MAX listed. It wasn't updating in real time, so they quickly kind of suppressed that information so that people would know, no, you're not going to be on a MAX. Yes, your flight is still operating, but then that kind of lingered, and here we are.
The company's CEO, Boeing CEO, said today that the 737 MAX's return to service will be paced by global regulators and customers. Do we know when the plane might be flying again?
Well, if actions, as they say, speak louder than words, you can kind of look at what airlines are doing, and when you see them taking the MAX out of the schedule into July, into August in some cases, that tells you that they probably don't expect it to be flying before then, because they would not want to do the same work twice. You know, so they probably think they're being somewhat conservative and hoping right now that they'll be flying by about September.
And Boeing already taking a pretty big hit. Earnings down 21% in the first quarter.
They are, and they've suspended their financial guidance for the rest of the year. They just don't know what to predict in terms of finances at this point until they know what's happening in terms of getting MAX back in the air.
Seth Kaplan, here now, transportation analyst. Thank you, Seth.
Thank you, Jeremy.
You're listening to Here and Now.
5 years ago, Flint, Michigan switched its drinking water sources, triggering a lead crisis. Despite the chaos and scandal that followed, some residents are content with the city's recovery.
We have some of the best water in the entire country now.
Others, though, are still angry.
In other ways, we're forever poisoned, damaged, traumatized. That's not going to ever be better.
Flint, 5 years later. Tomorrow on Morning Edition from NPR News.
Join us for Morning Edition from 5 to 9 tomorrow morning on WHYY.
I'm Jack Lepiarz. President Trump says he'll fight a series of subpoenas issued by House Democrats seeking his financial records and tax returns. The president says Democrats are looking for a new angle of attack after the Mueller report's release instead of focusing on legislation. He also says he'll go to the Supreme Court if Democrats try to impeach him. Federal military officials will allow an investigation into how the Wisconsin National Guard handles allegations of sexual assault. The Wisconsin Guard has received 2 allegations of assault. Japan's government is apologizing to people who were forcibly sterilized under a eugenics law enacted after World War II. 25,000 people were sterilized under the law, which was changed in 1996. Japanese lawmakers have also authorized compensation for each victim. You're listening to Here and Now.
You're listening to Here and Now on WHYY. It's 1:39, 70 degrees now in Philadelphia.
Supporting WHYY, Austin Hepburn Windows, a local small business installing windows and doors on the main line for 30 years. Austin Hepburn is a Pella certified contractor at the platinum level, committed to customer satisfaction. AustinHepburnWindows.com.
On our ticket, we bring you insights into the lives of great creative thinkers and examine how creativity is core to our understanding of the world, ourselves, and others. And join us for the next Our Ticket tomorrow night at 9:30 on WHYY TV 12.
On the next Fresh Air,
psychiatry's search to understand the biological basis of mental illness. We talk with Harvard professor Anne Harrington about her new book, Mind Fixers, and how that search led to new classes of drugs. But she thinks pharmaceutical companies are leaving the psychiatric field, and we're at a turning point in how we treat mental illness. Join us.
This afternoon at 3 and again tonight at 7 on WHYY.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston, from Constant Contact. Their automation features let customers automatically send welcome and birthday emails, as well as autoresponders when users take an action. Learn more at ConstantContact.com.